I think back in Asia they did, and then they came to America. They have a few successful businesses, and I always think about these things. I don't have kids, but I'm old enough to have many, and everyone around me now is a parent, and it's just funny to me, like and what college did you go to?
I went to a couple, American and then George Mason.
Okay, so American University is like, if you go to American, they have people from like UAE, Saudi, like they're sending their kids to American. American is a very high end. What's the tuition there for you?
Like 40,000.
50,000 a year, right? So her parents are successful immigrants and they're successful entrepreneurs, and she's going to a high end college, and her parents say, yeah, do Primerica. And then you have, you recruited that just awesome kid who was 22 years old, currently in the military. I thought he could have been a real stud. And his mom said, no, you shouldn't do this. You can't do this. You don't have time to do this. And I don't know what she does or whatever, nor does it matter. But you think about, a parent giving their child support in something like this. And really everything that we're teaching her goes against her nature, right? She probably doesn't like to speak. We're making her. She probably doesn't want to sell. She's learning to. She probably doesn't want to, cold call, but she is. She probably doesn't want to get rejection. She has a life. Her parents have built a life. Why would she have to ever go through rejection? But she goes through it 50 times a day. What is that doing for her? What is that making her into? What is that helping her become? That's the stuff that underneath people don't really understand. They're like, oh, you're financial services, you're 100% commission. It's not that. It's what you're learning, what you're becoming, what skill sets are you building within yourself. It's amazing to see that transformation, and how some parents don't realize that. And in reality, the parents themselves should be here.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have, now we're going to get to the heavy hitters. I want to let Mercedes go first because obviously she has to get out of here, but I don't know much about you. I do know your numbers. And what was your goal this month? 10 by 10. Just boom, 10 by 10. Right? And what did you actually do?
It was 10 by 9.
10 by 9100. Okay. And of course, with the help of Peter and Tia, she has an amazing trainer as well, and upline. But that's what we're looking for. Like, you come in and you don't care what anyone says, what anyone else is doing. It's like, that's the top, I want to get there. And very, very, very impressive that you were able to come that close to your goal. And I know you're going to get it this month. You're up for Mercedes.
Sorry. So I have a few things, probably not going to flow together like everyone else's did. But so a few things that I have is just keeping yourself motivated. I don't know if it's just me, but like sometimes I'll come into the meeting, we get really motivated for like 2 days and then get lazy again, and then it's like I don't want to keep doing that. So it's like constantly like keeping myself motivated by like watching, like, like whether it's the trainings or whatever it has to be for the day. So start off with that. Also, Tia told me to put up sticky notes around my room. So I started putting up like my goals and stuff around my room so that I'm waking up to it. Like I look at it in the morning, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do today, right? And then also getting creative, like with how you prospect. I've been using like Bumble. It's a dating app, but it has like a business portion on there. So like it's like if somebody already knows you're in finance and they're matching with you, then it's easier to talk about because they already want it.
Teach us a conversation.
So literally, I've got like a few interviews off of that song, like that, and then also being strategic with following up with your clients. Like I start like heavy in the beginning of the month because sometimes people won't have the money like immediately, or like they'll say like, let me think about it, and then follow up like 2 weeks later and they're like, oh yeah, okay, let me do it now. And it's like, okay, instead of waiting until like the end of the month to start pushing. And then also making sure that your teammates see the same value for the business that you have. So Brandon, I know you guys don't know him, but it's his first time here, and he's actually recruits, but he's never even been to the office, and you already recruited someone else. So it's like when they see the same value that you have, they'll like start to push the same way that you do. Right? And then the last thing I have is that if nothing else, just remember that all paths lead to the future. That's something that my mom always tells me. So whether you're putting in work now, you're always going to end up like still going to be 10 years older in 10 years. So, you know.
All right, so obviously, you know, anytime you see a result, right? Like if someone gets 10 recruits, if they get 9,000, those are the people who said yes. So you figure 2 or 3 times that, either reschedule, put her off, or said no in general. So if you're doing enough to get 10 in both categories, then you're probably pretty good at getting in front of people. So let's hear what this sounds like. I think in the beginning, everyone's in the warm market, so we can just use a warm market script. If I'm just one of your friends, we grew up together, you know, like your friend over here, what do you say to get someone on that webinar where you can potentially recruit them?
So I actually followed Val's script, like the one that she used, it was a few weeks ago in training. Okay. So, but it's just like basically like, hey, how are you? I'll catch up first. Like, hey, how are you? Like, you know, what are you doing? Like, oh, like, you know, what are you doing for work? And they'll like tell me what they're doing for work. I'm like, oh, okay. And then they'll ask me what I do. And I'm like, oh, yeah, you know, I'm in the financial services. And they're like, oh, what's that? And then like it just goes back and forth like that. And then that's when I'm like, okay, so I mean, if you're interested in what I do, I can send you a 17-minute like animated video and you can watch that. And it's like, oh.
Okay, so what do you do? This is what I do. And if you're interested, watch this video.
Yeah.
And that is leading to 10 recruits, which is pretty unbelievable, right? All right, so let's say that I'm married, I have kids, you knew me somehow. How are you setting up an appointment with me?
I always hit on the whole generational wealth thing. So like I'll say like, oh yeah, I help families that come up with a comprehensive plan because like, you know, everybody needs to learn about their finances, especially in my community. Like a lot of us don't like to talk about it, like just being Black in general. So I like to say like, okay, it's something you can learn about, it's free, it's like no obligation for you, but you're still gonna learn something and have value out of it. So I always guarantee them that they're gonna see some value.
Okay, so I'm doing a comprehensive financial plan. You know, she's stressing that it is free of charge and there's no obligation. You said you'll learn something, you know, value, blah, blah, blah. So what it sounds like to me is she's just doing a lot of that, right? The more times you say it, it's not about what you say, it's about how many times you say it. She must be saying it a lot. And she's setting a goal, which most people don't do. She's putting it in front of her face everywhere. Most people don't do that. And then it's achieving, you know, the results. So what are you going to do this month in June?
Try to do the same thing.
Okay, 10 by 10. Give it up for Mercedes. Great job. Okay, so we will, we're going to stay with their team and go to Tia and Peter. When Shaq and I were coming up with you know, the speaker roster, my comment about Tia was she can convert. This is big, okay? She can convert, which means that if she recruits someone, she can convert that recruit into appointments, and then she can successfully recruit the convert the appointment into a client. This is a huge skill because some people can recruit, but then they can't convert. And some people can recruit and they convert into appointments, but they haven't yet gotten that skill of turning the appointments that someone sets into a client. That is a monster skill, right? And she's not just doing it within her community, she's doing it in many different communities, and she's doing it at a high rate, right? And Mercedes deserves a recognition and she's getting the recognition, but a lot of times when you're that new, there's someone behind you that's offering a lot of support. And Mercedes is bringing the relationships and the contacts but Peter and T are the ones that are bringing the skill set and the experience and the knowledge, right? So very impressive what you're able to do. The other reason I wanted you to talk is because it's a very huge, big deal when you recruit another 10K producer. Getting to 10 is a great step. When you have someone else doing 10, watch out. Watch out. Because 2 or 3 of those, you're going to the moon. It's limitless what you can accomplish here. So that's a very big step in your business. Give it up for Peter and Tia.
I'm starting off today. Usually it's Peter starting off. Okay. So hey guys. So last month, I'm just gonna talk about like our focus, what I was focused on, what Peter was focused on. Before that, a lot of times people put out a goal, right? And sometimes people don't even put out a goal. But if you put out a goal and then they go out of the meeting and they just kind of live life like they usually do, right? But if you don't change yourself, your situation is not going to change, right? We've all heard Samir and Shaq say that. But you really need to internalize that you yourself, the actions you take, the activity you do, will then result in you becoming better yourself, which results in you getting results in the business, right? So last month, I realized that just a few months ago, right, I would put out a goal and then I wouldn't put an action behind it. Last month, really, our goal was to just get on 2 appointments every single day, do at least 2 interviews every single day. And I think it's funny what Samir was saying, because that was my talk. I used to think I'm better than the numbers, right? So I'd always tell Shaq, yeah, put me in front of anyone, for sure they're gonna become a client, I'll recruit them, for sure, right? So I always told Peter that too. But then last month, the first 2 weeks, if you guys didn't notice, we only did like 2,000 in premium and 0 recruits. But I was going on 2 appointments every single day. And they were like carrybacks. And I told Shaq, I always close on the first, right? This is so weird that I'm not closing. But just know that those 2 weeks, I got all no's or like maybes, like let's follow up. The next 2 weeks after that, they were all yeses, right? So the numbers will work out in your favor. You just have to keep going, right? The biggest mistakes you can do is get discouraged when you're getting the no's and stop putting in the activity, right? So I remember I was talking to Hai, and he was always like, oh yeah, you went on an appointment, tell me how it went. And he was saying one of the things that he learned from the many great things I say, right? was that every time they close together, like whether it's cold calls or whether we're on appointments or interviews, if they say no, I always tell him, oh, this just means we're like the yeses are coming close, right? That just means the next one is going to be a yes. So let's just keep going. So he kind of reminded me of that, and that, the support of having a team is so important in this business. It is having teammates, right, which are like business partners. Like you can't build a great business by yourself, because if I went through those 2 weeks without hearing no, and I didn't have teammates to kind of be like, oh, we got this, like, you know what to do, or, Peter, a partner. So if you don't, your spouse is not in the business, recruit your spouse, because that's really important, because I have to be positive for my team, right? But the no still discouraged me. So that's what I have Peter for, to kind of go and cry to him about. And he's like, oh, you got this, right? So, which I will pass the ball to Peter to kind of talk about whatever he's going to talk about, the genius behind it all. I don't know how you always introduce me so well, but here, Peter.
You guys kind of see why C is like a boss, really like, I'm just gonna share a couple things with you guys. The one thing that I came up here last month and I talked about a little bit about was why I love Primerica. And again, I'm gonna talk more about it because that's what I really truly believe. I believe that all of us that invested the time on a Saturday morning, whether on Zoom or in this office today, will get something out of it. I believe that if we just continue to come here, whether we choose to do the business or not, we're gonna get something out of it. Because the success that I'm able to achieve outside of Primerica was credit to the mindset that I learned in Primerica. The books that were introduced to me, the audio that was introduced to me, and the thing that I was able to overcome on every day. you go through a lot of crazy things when you run a business and you constantly put out fire every day, nonstop, because things just happen. And if it wasn't for Primerica, I probably would given up on my other stuff that I was doing. But Primerica taught me that, like, you're gonna hit adversity. You just have to push through it and you get better at it. And that's why I love Primerica. I believe that everybody that come here, whether you become a millionaire, whether you make 100,000, but you're still gonna get something out of it. But what you get out of Primerica is very fair. What you put in is what you're gonna get out. At the end of the day, nothing is more fair than this. And there's no other business out there that's gonna give you the opportunity to become a millionaire. There's nothing else out there that's ever gonna give you that opportunity. And Primerica is the only company that I felt like would ever give me that opportunity. And no matter how successful I am anywhere else, I will never miss Saturday meeting. I missed a few Saturday meetings. I've been arranging a lot of my schedule. I'm moving my truck schedule. I'm trying to clear up Saturday morning while I'm not operating. The past couple weeks, the only reason why I'm not here because my truck is visiting somewhere and I can't get no way to cover me. I have to go. I have no choice. Now, I hate it. So, and the second thing that I want to share with you guys is that if you guys are ever in a rut, just try to stay busy. That's what kind of get me and Tia going. I was talking to her last month. I said, man, we're so busy that we don't have time to see each other because I'm always working on the truck and she's always on appointment. I get home at like 9 o'clock. She's locked in the room on appointment. My son is crying outside the door. And then he's like, hey, where are you? You gotta get home. He's crying, banging on the door. And she's literally doing QA behind the door. And the more I realize that the busier you get, the more productive it just happens. Things just happen when you're busier.
I was actually going to ask you, sorry to interrupt, but I was going to say, are you guys successful because you live with your parents and you have nothing else to do and you're unemployed and you have no kids? Is that why you're successful?
No. We are successful because we live with our parents, because we have kids. The parents live with you. You have a legitimate business, right? And you have, how old are your kids? We have a 6 years old turning 7 and
Right.
a 7-month-old.
Yeah. I mean, that's why we come here, because it's so people like them can take away our excuses. And then the people that we are potentially recruiting. Because when someone gives you an excuse, right, they're selling you something. The question is, are you gonna buy it? I ain't buying it. I might smile in your face and say, okay, yeah, I understand your situation. I ain't buying it in my head. Because I hear people like this that are doing an unbelievable job, making time, right? What are some things that, because you've learned here, you kind of instill in your kids, or you plan on instilling in your kids?
Oh, so many. Yeah, affirmations, right? Positive thinking. Also just putting in the work, right? You're not gonna get something out unless you do something. Like my kids don't even know what a job is, right? So when I remember Liam was like, oh yeah, my friend's parents can't come to this event, right? Because I wonder why. I'm like, why did they have a job? So just working for yourself. It's just so many great things, right? I think.
And you learned that in college?
No. I think anything. Okay. Like marriage-wise, kids-wise, friendship-wise, people skill-wise, was all due to Primerica. Because I came here I joined the business when I was 21, right? So everything that I learned was through Primerica. And we wouldn't have anything in Primerica or outside of Primerica if it wasn't for this business. And we just want to take that and put it into more people, because we didn't join this business to be working for 30, 40 years, right? We joined this business to have freedom. So that was another goal last month, is just to instill the same mindset, instill the same work ethic into other people, create soloists. And hopefully, we have Mercedes, High, and we'll have, a few more popping up.
Great job. Awesome job.